Hi, all. This is Mr. Lauer, your media specialist here at Jefferson. And boy, I had a great summer of reading. Lots of great uh, picture books, graphic novels, and novels. And the focus of this 5 in 5 video is sharing with you some of my favorite. Now, there are some that I will not be able to talk about today because we don't have those books in the library. But these 9 books, yes, you heard me correctly, 9 books. Oh, wait, it's 10. Whoops, 10 books are books that we have here in our library and would make for great read-alouds or great individual reads or great personal reads for yourself. This is the long play version of 5 and 5. We're going to go about 10 minutes today with this. Please watch it at your own time or convenience. Know that the first half is picture books and nonfiction. The second half is going to be fiction. So if you can only watch a part, then pick the part that will work best for you. Hey, let's get started. I'm going to try and keep to my 10-minute time limit. The first is a hilarious little picture book called My Favorite Pets by Gus W. from Mrs. Smolinski's Class by Jean Birdsall and Harry Bliss. This takes the form of a class assignment. Gus has to submit a little bit of homework about his favorite pet, and he talks about his 17 sheep that he lives with, and thus ensues a pretty hilarious assignment where he gives us the do's and don'ts of living with sheep and other important facts that we need to know. The best part about this, not only the kind of school assignment like writing in this, complete with the ledger paper, but also really hilarious Harry Bliss illustrations that will really add to the humor here. This could be a great read aloud. From one of my favorite author and now illustrator duos, Sherman Alexie and Yui Morales, is Thunder Boy Jr. This book talks about what is so important about a name. Thunder Boy Jr. Is named after his father, Thunder Boy. And although he loves his father, he wants his very own name all to himself. Now, he has lots of ideas of names that he could be called based on some of the things he loves and the things he likes to do, or things that fit his personality, but none of them quite fit until his father finds the perfect individual name for him. Thunder Boy Jr. by Sherman Alexie and Yui Morales. Trademark Yui Morales illustrations, but also really a wonderful story about father and son with great connections to the Native American peoples. Okay, another Lois Ehlert book, but I can't help it. I love these books. This is called Rainfish, and just like other Lois Ehlert texts, sparse words with really incredible pictures to really pour over. This could make a really great read aloud and then individual read as kids want to dig in to the different things that she uses. As she's creating her rainfish, she is using discarded materials, and she has a key in the back. Great stuff. The Elephant and Piggie series is coming to a close with this final book called The Thank You Book. And let me tell you, this is as good as the rest. Humorous and touching like a lot of the other Elephant and Piggie books, great on message, but also lots of fun. Elephant and Piggie decide that they need to thank all of the characters that have been in their book, and as Piggie lists off all of the characters, she seems to forget one in particular that she misses, and Elephant isn't going to let her get away with it. Great lesson, great humor, and honestly, you guys, a perfect ending. So for those of you that are really into the Elephant and Piggie and bringing those to your students, this is going to be a great share with your kids. 2 nonfiction pieces that I want to share with you. One from someone I think that is familiar to Jefferson, and that's John Coy. John Coy's book, Their Great Gift, Courage, Sacrifice, and Hope in a New Land, tells a story of immigration. Really focuses on the immigrant experience, especially families and children. And he paired with a photographer that provides these really, really wonderful illustrations, wonderful pictures from Minnesota, is my understanding. But it provides a great pairing with John Coy's text. I think a great book to share not only with our immigrant families here at Jefferson, but with all of our families as we talk about our great gifts. This one surprised me a little bit. I kind of put this on the back burner for a while, and then as I read it, wow, I could not put this down. Jazz Day, The Making of a Famous Photograph by Roxane Orgel and Francis Vallejo. This actually chronicles a famous picture that was taken in 1958. Esquire magazine had decided on a special issue on jazz and American jazz. And so they put a call out to gather as many jazz musicians as they possibly could for a photo. Now, early on a Sunday morning, they weren't sure who was going to show up. And at first, it didn't look like anybody, but then they started trickling in. Everyone from new jazz musicians to great pioneers of jazz gathered for this photo. In the end of this book, you will see the full photo with information on each individual. But this book is filled with poetry by Roxane Orgel, who is kind of chronicling this event for us, giving us the backstories of these individuals, of this jazz community, and giving us really great insight with beautiful, rhythmic, musical poetry. Pair this with these illustrations, and this is really, really a treat. One that you could share in parts, or one that you could share as a whole. 3 minutes for 4 books. I hope I can do it. Some of you know that I won't be able to. I'm surely going to try. Let's talk novels now. House Arrest by K.A. Holt is about Timothy, who really didn't think that stealing the credit card would be that big of a deal. He didn't think that anyone would even notice. In fact, it was for a good cause. It was for his little brother's medication. But of course, people did. And now Timothy finds himself in a year-long house arrest, as well as having to write a court-mandated journal. And we, the reader, get a peek into this journal. In fact, the book that we're reading becomes his journal. It is done in verse, and it really gives us an inside look on Timothy's ups and downs in his year in house arrest. Really beautifully done. Historical fiction at its finest by Dan Gemeinhart, Some Kind of Courage. Joseph has experienced lots of loss in his life recently. Sister and mom to an illness, and dad to really a freak accident. And now Joseph has lost the only other thing in his life that really matters to him, and that is his horse, Sarah, who sold out right from underneath him by the man who promised to take care of him. Well, now Joseph, in a last-ditch effort, goes on a grand adventure to go and get his horse. And on his way, he'll meet new friends, he'll meet dangerous men, and even very, very deadly animals to get his horse back. This combines very quick pace and tempo, really, really interesting characters, even funny characters at a time, to make this turn-of-a-century story come alive in a really, really great way. Historical adventure, Some Kind of Courage by Dan Gemeinhart. 2 books, 45 seconds. Kate DiCamillo's latest story called Raymie Nightingale, about Raymie Clark, who really needs her dad back. It was 2 days ago he ran off with the dental hygienist, and she really needs him back. So her plan, join a pageant, the Little Miss Central Florida Tire Pageant. I think that's what it's called. Get her name in the paper, and then her dad will for sure notice notice her again and come back. Of course, standing in her way are Louisa Elefante, Beverly Topinski, who are also, for their own reasons, competing in the pageant. A story about friendship, loss, loneliness, and just like any other Kate DiCamillo book, quirky characters, lots of little light humor, but also the ability to tackle some pretty heavy subjects. Could be a great discussion starter. Last but not least, I'm going over time. I apologize. Sorry, not sorry. The Wild Robot by Peter Brown, quite possibly my favorite of the summer. You'll recognize Peter Brown from lots of different illustrated picture books like Mr. Tiger Goes Wild and My Teacher is a Monster. No, I Am Not. Here's his first foray into novels. Roz, you see her on the cover as a robot, and when she wakes up, she realizes she has no idea where she is. She finds herself in the middle of an island, and she knows she needs the people, the animals around her in order to be able to survive. This is a sweet story about community, about animals, about robots, and then just in a blink of an eye, it switches and becomes much more serious as Roz's past comes back. The Wild Robot. Look for this and some possible Newbery lists this winter. That's it. That's it for me. This has been 5 in 5, the best books I read this summer. As always, if you would like these books or any other books, please let us know. We'd love to help.